was contracted by this board after students attended several board meetings bringing awareness to racial discrimination practices at one of the schools. The students have now graduated and they're in college. You, the board, and I have to repeat that because there were some board members who are here now who were not on the board then. You contracted the Creed Report project, but never once gave any type of presentation to the community. I am really happy to hear other people talking about the Creed Report because I asked about it by myself for one solid school year, and it was squashed. We cannot put our heads in the sand about the issues of discrimination that play out in our schools. My recommendation, table the vote. Focus on our kids. Make our kids the priority. Have a meeting before the meeting about what to do to help our students in the situations that they find themselves in. Because it's all connected. What was reported last night, last month, the data about Black children having more incidents of harassment, intimidation, and bullying, and more discipline incidents, the buck stops with the superintendent. And you have to have the courage of your conviction. I think that the superintendent overall has done a yeoman's job with facilities and a yeoman's job with highlighting our students. But if there is one shred of racial discrimination and tension in our district, we have to focus on that. Table the contract. Sir?
Good evening. Michael Hill. Good evening. As a parent,
I only heard your first name, so I'm going to call you Michael. I didn't hear your last
Hill.
name. Okay, can you move closer to the microphone, please?
I'm getting closer to the end. The support of the children is very important to my knowledge. The literacy is part of the problem. And I like to say that focusing on education and getting the kids to be successful, and as the future comes for them, I like to say that the Creed Report needs to be put out so people can understand what's going on in the district. A lot of times we don't see the things that's behind closed doors, and I'm just saying, I commend you for doing all your hard work to get to the right. Focus on the kids, and I wish that the Creed Report is valid to all people of the community. So I'm voting no.
Thank you for your comments. Sir?
Hello, my name is John Jeffers. I'm son right here. Jeffers, he's 11-year-old in Newark Public School, sir. I've been a resident of Newark all my life. I haven't been in the school system. I graduated 39 years ago. My career took me to other places. However, I have 3 sons in total. All was educated here in Newark. All went on to higher education. However, what's going on right now, and I see certain things, I really love the people participating, but certain things, this ain't no transparency. And for certain things not to be in light of or even spoke of or even give up that power to extend a contract to 2030. When most of it, some of y'all, most of y'all won't even be on the board in 2030 probably. But y'all want to approve this for him. And so whatever we looking forward to doing is his lease out right now. He's locked in. So it don't matter to you. If he get fired, he still won't get fired with that money. And it's money that can be put towards the kids. Right now, all we're asking for is why not wait to see the results and see what the super do after we see the results, what his actions going to be pertaining to that pre-report. That should be a main factor, contributing factor in deciding his contract moving forward. Because if he don't deal with that, and we don't even know what the finance is. So how can we move forward without knowing and guarantee him something when we don't know nothing about that pertaining to that? I don't feel that's right, and it's going to affect our kids. No matter how you see it right now, everywhere. I got a program called Vaccine Dash, and the majority of individuals we deal with is minority men, males between the ages of 10 and 13. And I know for a fact, when they not confident, they not confident at home, they don't want to participate in school. School is where the kids come at sometimes. Who they got to face, who they got to deal with. And if it's not being talked about how people is treating them, especially these children, no matter we all here adults speaking, but these are children. Their minds are fully developed. They might not know how to deal with certain things. Death coming to suicide, and we not dealing with it. So how do you deal with it? If we don't give them resources and tools, or the Board of Education don't let us know what their findings was, why should we be guaranteeing them something? We ain't giving us something. I disagree with you.
Ma'am?
Hi, my name is Janet Bannon, and I am a product of Newark Public Schools. I thank you, first of all, everyone that sits on the board, because that's a tough job as it is. But I see all the spinning, and I think you have done a super intended job. Well done. But why should we extend another 2 years when I see kids out in the street after school hours? And I'm wondering, are they really getting the education that the school board and the superintendent is giving to them? I see them running around, cursing, swearing, doing all sorts of things. So again, we say, where is the creed? Where is the piece of paper that tells that the kids are expanding in everything that you say they are expanding in? The expense and the money is there, but another 2 years, why? I just wonder why. Because you see them in school, I see them out of school. So my last statement will be, please, don't extend the 2 years. I think you have done a wonderful job. Maybe someone else can step in and do even better.
Thank you. Sir?
Yes, my name is Michael Mitchell. You hear me? Okay. Yeah, you know, I don't know whether it's a rush either about this contract, but, you know, it's sad that kids, and, you know, a lot of us don't understand that kids can be cruel to each other without realizing it, right? You know, I'm going to give you an example. I'm almost 70 years old, okay? And when I was in the first grade, I had a Caucasian friend. And we used to meet up at school, and he would come over to my house almost every day. And I remember one time I asked him, you know, can I come over to your house and play? And we proceeded to go to his house and play. And when he opened up his front gate, his father at the time, which was a police officer, I could not come inside this gate. And we are here 50, almost 60 years later, still talking about the kids being called N-words and things like that. You know, leaders are supposed to lead and bring everyone together. There's so much turmoil going around now, not even only in the schools, but in this country. And our kids are suffering.
my grandkids are suffering because of it. So, you know, I don't know, man. Maybe we need some new leadership, somebody that can bring the kids together. You know, that's all I have.
Thank you for your comment. Sir? I need you to speak directly.
There we go.
Thank you.
I'm a parent and I'm a resident of the Newark School District. I have a child that goes to South 17th Street School. Now, what I want to address is it's a situation that I was looking at results of the school academic numbers, and they're not adding up. Like, what is the school system doing when it comes to children that's in the 8th grade? And one second. We got children that's in the 8th grade that don't even know how to do algebra. Algebra is one of the most important maths to get children to move forward into getting better careers and things like that through their life and stuff like that. So I'm trying to wonder, like, what's going on with the numbers? We got third graders that don't even know how to speak their classmate name that was written on a piece of paper. What happened to our children knowing how to do penmanship? They don't even know how to curse and write their name, but they had to sign a check. Like, they took a lot of things out of the school system. And it's crazy that we sit here and we don't know what the situation is or what's going on. Like, is the teachers doing what they're supposed to do? Is the staff doing what they're supposed to do? I had a child in 2019 that committed suicide, you know what I'm saying, due to bullying in the Newark school system. So yes, that right there is a big address to the situation on what's going on with that. How do we address these situations that's going on with our children? You know what I'm saying? All we can do is just hope for the best and wish that things will get better. Maybe it is time for a new face. You know what I'm saying? A new mindset, some new eyes to address these situations. I think he probably did a good job. Maybe someone can do a better job. So that's what I'm looking forward to see. You know what I'm saying? Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Hello, my name is Margot Henry. I live in Pilgrim Village, which I'm in the middle of 4 schools from high school on down. I sit on my porch every day, and when the kids pass me by, I ask them, what did you learn in school today? The best answer I get is, hold on, Miss Margot, let me look at my tablet. Let me look in the phone. I have never met kids that cannot understand reading comprehension, spell, or do math. Mr. Leone, you have done a great job. I hear all the accolades, but I see those children when they get out of school. I see them when they go on to the youth house. I see them when they come home from doing the 20 and 30 and 40 years and still cannot read and write. Perhaps it's time for us to move on. I see young girls come home with their hijab in their hand because they've been bullied in school and are afraid to let somebody know they're a Muslim. I'm Muslim. So it hurts me when I ask them, why is your head covered? They were teasing me at school, Miss Margot, so I took it off. Shouldn't be like that. Shouldn't be because I'm brown, or I'm black, or I'm not a Christian, that I have to go to school and be bullied. I'm saying I don't think that right now your contract should be extended. Maybe we need someone else to step in and see what they can do. And you can be there because you have seen and you have expanded. All those kids that you say they graduated, I wonder where a lot of them are now.
Thank you. Sir?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Dana McDougal, attorney, Newark based. I'd like to talk tonight about some of the racism, the allegations set forth in this Creed report. And I think to battle that, all we have to do is institute a curriculum where we tell the kids the truth. We simply tell them the truth. The truth is that black and brown unity, brown and black unity, that power is overwhelming. It's overwhelming. It can't be stopped. It can't be stopped. If you look at our shared interest from an educational level, if you look at our shared interest from a socioeconomic level, if you look at where we're living, if you look at the playgrounds, our interests are similar. So if we have a black in a position, a brown, Hispanic, Portuguese, Brazilian in that same position, our interests are represented. One interest represents the other. The other interest represents the other. If you think I'm not telling the truth, if you think that black and brown unity is not overwhelming, look at the policies that have been implemented to stop it. Look at the policies implemented by Donald Trump and ICE to stop it on a daily basis. Look at the implementation of people being scared to go to school, people being scared to pick up their children because they're afraid of how dominant the Hispanic, black, and Brazilian culture will be. So let's start this at a curriculum level where we're teaching our kids the truth. The power of black and brown unity is dominant and is overwhelming.
Thank you for your comments. Sir?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jamar Youngblood, and I am a product of Newark Public Schools. I want to share my thoughts on why Mr. Leon's contract extension should not be granted at this time. Under his leadership, Mr. Leon has raised graduation rates and reduced chronic absenteeism, but his record also includes wasted spending, a decline in student performance, secrecy, and divisive battles that have divided our community. Let's start with the facts about student performance. Right now, only 29% of students in Newark Public Schools are reading at level. Among third graders, that number drops even lower to just 19%. Student math proficiency is only about 15%, and that is among the worst in the state, and it has not improved despite millions spent and years of promises. Instead of addressing the crisis in our school, Mr. Leon has chosen to spend over $2.4 million suing charter schools in a failed attempt to take back buildings that the district had already sold years ago. Judges threw out the lawsuits, called them shameful, and ordered Newark to pay an additional $800,000 in legal fees to charter schools. At the same time, the district has spent more than $225,000 on balloons since 2018. I have to repeat this. The district has spent more than $225,000 on balloons since 2018. That money could have gone to new textbooks, raising teachers' pay, improving technology in our classrooms, but instead it was wasted on court and on parties. And allegedly, Mr. Leon is also known for threatening lawsuits against critics, even against parents who speak out. And instead of welcoming dialogue, he's accused of trying to intimidate residents, parents, and union leaders. One example is when a teachers' union asked for a report on racism and student well-being. Mr. Leon refused to share it, which led to more legal action. Lastly, Mr. Leon's contract was extended in 2019 through a process that lacked transparency. The NCAA, the NAACP and many New York parents protested, saying the renewal was done behind closed doors and outside the spirit of the law. With all that said, Mr. Leon still has 3 years left in his contract and earns $300,000 per year, making him one of the highest paid superintendents in New Jersey. Yet reading and math scores remain stagnant, millions have been wasted on lawsuits, and the community is kept in the dark about key decisions. Newark families and students deserve a superintendent who put them first, prioritizes learning, restores public trust, and manages resources wisely. The evidence shows that Mr. Leon's leadership has not delivered what our children in our city need, and I know many of you support him, but all I'm asking is for us to set a new standard when it comes to holding our elected officials accountable. Let him finish his current contract and let him earn his extension. Thank you.
Ma'am?
Warren, and certain things that I have noticed myself when it comes to the Newark Board of Ed, also when it comes to different situations that happen in Newark Public Schools, is just horrible. I feel like the person who deserves to be in that seat needs to also get their hands a little dirtier when it comes to going to these schools. When it comes to like, okay, the harassment, the bullying, the intimidation. Sometimes you call the Newark Board of Ed and you want to report certain things and nobody's answering the phone. I have spoke to Roger Leon about different situations that may have occurred, especially with one that I'm really passionate about that happened to my child in one of his Newark public schools that he still hasn't gotten back to me on. You know what I'm saying? Those things, people who come with concerns about their children, is very important because we are the ones that are there every day seeing these type of situations take place, whether it's negligent surveillance, whether it's teachers intimidating students. Yes, teachers do that as well. Whether it's bullying, anything. We're the ones that are there, and we're the ones that actually see this going on, and we need people like Roger Leon to step up for us. We need Hassani to step up for us, because sometimes they don't listen to you. They listen to people like him, so that seat is very important. That seat is the foundation of what we're teaching our kids. It's just so many things that I can say that I feel like the person in that seat should have characteristics of. They stated leader, a good leader, a non-biased person. You know, when someone that is just very hands-on when it comes to what these kids are dealing with every day. It's okay to come out your office and see what's going on. It's okay. We want to see you. The parents want to see you. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like whoever is going to be in that seat, they need to be steadfast, they need to be hands-on. The foundation has to be strong, so that way we can bring up these kids right in Newark Public Schools where they deserve the best education. They deserve to be in safe environments. They deserve for their bathrooms to be clean and soap in the dispensers. They deserve these type of things. So the person in that seat, it's important. The person who makes the rules is important. Should the contract extend? I mean, yes and no. Because if that was your best, we need to see better.
Thank you for your comments. Sir?
How you doing? My name is Mandel Burkett. I've been a resident for years. I'm 49 years old. Basically, I would say I heard enough from my young children to get speaking and stuff. And my mind said already. I don't think they should be having sleeping every now. This should be endured to pretend anyway. So I'm just going to keep it short and simple, and that's it. Have a good day.
Thank you for your comments. Sir?
Good evening. Hi, everybody. My name is Braylor Steve Montalban Adams. I would like to address in my native language in Spanish, if it's possible. And I speak in my native tongue. Okay.
Can I please ask the audience to keep it down so that we can hear the speakers clearly? Yes, sir, you may speak in Spanish.
Gracias. Hola a todos. Mi nombre es Braylor Steve Montalban Adams. Yo vengo de Quisqueya, hoy se llama República Dominicana. Y muchas veces nosotros mismos somos nuestros propios enemigos. El barco es grande y se necesita un líder que lleve al barco al destino. Esa decisión es muy fuerte y la persona que está arriba ahora mismo es uno de nosotros. Entonces no entiendo por qué no hay diálogo en nuestras comunidades. Yo estoy para la extensión del superintendente porque necesitamos el líder de que siga la continuación de los planes que el board ha puesto en moción. Muchas gracias a todos. Tengo 3 niños en la escuela, uno en high school, en el medio y uno en Branchville Park. Mándale Un saludo especial a la directora de Branch Park, a la directora de Science Park as well. Los niños míos están haciendo muy bien en matemática y muchas gracias a todos.
Muchísimas gracias.
So can we translate, Superintendent?
Ms. Garcia, can you please translate?
Thank you, Madam VA. So he said his name was Ray Lord. He's a parent. He is of Dominican descent. He's a parent of 3 public school students here in the city of Newark. And he said, we need someone who's going to have the vision for all parents in the city of Newark and be a captain of that ship. He stated he is in support of the superintendent's contract. He is very happy with the way his kids are being taught. Am I correct in saying that, Mr. Raylor? Did I miss anything, Mr. Raylor? Huh? Oh, he is a United States veteran as well as a public servant here in the city of Newark. I'm not sure. Okay, he's a fireman as well. Thank you, Mr. Raylor.
Ma'am?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Liz Guzman, and I'm a mental health clinician. I'm a mental health clinician that often, when we speak about our kids being in distress or having struggles, being able to cope and deal with things, I'm the one they see. So that means that I'm also the one that sees when they can't spell their names. I'm also the one that sees when they're struggling, being competent in their work. I'm the one that sees that when they're struggling and they're reteaching themselves things out of school because they can't get it, because they're not learning the way that they're meant to, and there are changes that are meant to come. And I see what it does to their identity, I see what it does to their self-worth, to their competency, to what they believe of themselves. I also see what happens when they become young adults and now they're running the streets and we don't understand why, but they can't see themselves being anything different because they can't believe that they can achieve anything more. So I'm the one that sees all of that, and I've dedicated my work to include, to create and foster inclusive environments that nurture development, that nurture growth, that nurture transparency, that nurture community. And while the current superintendent is doing his job in his current post, I say that we should let him allow to finish that post and then at a later date evaluate if that should be renewed. To be able to renew this now will be a disservice to our community, will be a disservice to our students. No matter if it's good or bad, I think no matter who holds the post, what we ought to do is to be able to evaluate effectively and efficiently before we make any permanent decisions. Being that we're still so many years out before the end of the term, I say that we wait, we table this conversation, and as a community, your community came out today to be able to speak, to be able to share their thoughts, reevaluate and assess where things are then, and see if that extension is due, or maybe if it's time to pass the baton. So I say that for the time being, we table that, and we deal with this as a community. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you for your comments. Sir?
Hello, can you hear me on?
Yes, I can.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Carlos Castañeda, and I'm here tonight to speak in strong opposition to extending Superintendent Roger Leon's contract until 2030. First, let's be clear. No single individual should be guaranteed nearly a decade of power without meaningful accountability. To the community, education is about the future of our children. The future cannot be locked in through backroom decisions or quiet contract negotiations. This process has lacked transparency. Drafts of the contract have not been shared with the public. Community members are only given a short window to respond, yet the board is considering decisions that will shape our schools for the next 5 years. That is not democracy, that is exclusion. Second, we must look honestly and outcomes under the Superintendent Leon's leadership. Newark is the largest school district in New Jersey, but too many of our children are still reading below grade level. Too many schools in our immigrant and working class neighborhoods remain under-resourced, while children are bused away from their communities into schools with fewer opportunities. Our families deserve a superintendent who tackles inequity head-on, not one who presides over it year after year. Third, leadership is about trust. When board members with family ties to district employees may have to recuse themselves, when parents and students feel shut out of decisions, when the public is left in the dark about the most basic provisions of the superintendent's contract, how can we say this leadership has earned our trust for another 5 years? How can we say that? Finally, stability matters, but stability without results is stagnation. We cannot continue longevity with effect. We cannot confuse longevity with effectiveness. Newark deserves leadership that is transparent, accountable, and committed to educational justice, not a guaranteed contract extension until 2030. I urge this board, do not rush this decision. Do not
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Mr. Jones. The time is set appropriately, Mr. Jones, and we have notice of your exception.
Thank you very much. You know, Lucius Jones, I like to say 107 Ivy Street, where I live most of the time, one of the schools in the district that I take pride for. But I want to say, this debacle in this room to some degree reminds me of a movie called Me on Me. And in that movie, there was a man who was fighting for the rights and the opportunities for the kids in that community. There was a man that decided that he was going to keep the kids safe. He wouldn't even go as far as putting shades on the door. I remember in that movie, he was talking with a young lady who told him that she was pregnant. And he had to take off his principal hat at that time in that movie, and he had to put on his daddy hat. See, we have to understand something here, that some of the things that are happening in Newark were here 25, 30 years ago under state takeover. But did the state change it when they gave it back under control? What we have here is superintendent asked for from the very beginning. Continue your plan. And why do you need to continue your plan? Because you need to build a foundation. 2 years of that contract that we're talking about was COVID. It was COVID. And we all know what the impact of COVID was. I'm going to say he brought us through COVID. And then after bringing us through COVID, he's built a brand new high school in almost every single ward in this city. He didn't exclude the West Ward or the South Ward. Everything we're talking about, when it talks to what the superintendent can do, I know what he can do. I served on the accountability committee with him in 1999 when he was the principal at University High School. And they were recognizing him for the greatest things he was doing at University High School. So let's talk deep. Let's even get deeper than that.
When we talk about this superintendent meeting with principals every single month to give them instruction, to make sure they understand the goals. The state doesn't care about whether or not Newark Public Schools succeed. They only care about the money. In 2009, 2005, 2001, the budget of the city of Newark was almost $1 billion. Today, 30 years later, we're at $1.5 billion. 400 million of that goes to charter schools. 400 million is based on the seats the charter schools have. Even if the charter schools don't have the kids, on October 15th, we have to give them still $400 million. When do we get our money back for those seats that have not been filled? We get it back at the end of the year, just to give it back to them again in September. What meeting are we at? Sounds like we had a North Star meeting or a tent meeting. What meeting are we at? This is a board education meeting. Just because you see kids walking home from school don't mean they can know board education. Doesn't mean they can know board education. Just because you're fighting on this street or that street doesn't mean they're from the Newark Public Schools. This is the issue that we have here. Equity. The state needs to give us the money for Mr. Young to do what he needs to do. The problem that we have here is that we keep showing up, acting like there are no issues. There are always going to be issues. Always going to be issues. But my concern is when you put him, my superintendent, when you put him in a situation where you're questioning his character, his ability to move this district forward, I will not agree. And if I didn't agree, I guess ma'am, but give one more minute.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones. For the school in the past before would have felt that he did not deserve to be there, then I would have been the first one standing in line.
Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, I respectfully interrupt you. Your time has ended.
30, just 1 minute.
Mr. Jones.
38 years I have been doing this work. 38 years.
Mr. Jones.
Madam D.A., please, 1 minute. But I understand. 38 years I've been doing this work. And I am appalled that folks would walk in here and tell me that they don't see what I see and I'm blind.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Thank you. Now, order. Sir?
Hi everyone, my name is Rafael Chavez. I'm a community organizer here in the city of Newark and representing a lot of work for New Labor Organization and also part of the Spanish community, a Spanish commissioner in the city of Newark. First of all, I want to remind you guys, in January 12, 2024, the Governor Murphy signed a language access bill, which allowed New Jersey to provide language access to the statewide law. The law requires translation into the 15 most common non-English language spoken in New Jersey, which specific timelines for implementation. And I am saying a guarantee, meaningfully, access for all residents to government services and legal providers. New Jersey enacted the legislation required the state government institutes to provide direct public services to translate and provide interpretation services. Second, why are we talking about contact when we are 2 years far away from it? Right now, our children are facing problems, segregation, discrimination, racism. So we should be talking about how to improve the education system for better future for our children, Number 3, what are you proposing today that you want to do in the future is good. But what were you doing right now? What are you doing for our children in our area? Are we really listening? You really listen to our community, or just you here to promote, to get resigned for the next period? Our community needs to be here, or you here for us to warm up the bunchers today. I want you to listen to the problems in our children and our youth and third grade and our families facing every day in our neighborhood. If our children is going to continue to face the same issues, why you going to continue to hold the seat? You should leave the seat for someone better. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Ma'am?
Good evening. My name is Latifah Illy, and I'm here to advocate for the autistic community, for children that's on the spectrum who are in Newark public schools. We know the children, they suffer from social communication, interacting with other children and people, and they stick to strict routines. When you place the children that's on the spectrum in a fully functioning classroom, it creates confusion for that child. You have teachers, assistants who are becoming one-on-ones for these children. They're not properly trained to care for these children if they start stemming or become confused. When you take the teachers' assistants and turn them into one-on-ones, you take away from the children who need the help from the teachers' assistants in the classroom, and you take away the help from the teacher. I believe these children who are on the spectrum should be protected. When we send our children to school, we expect for them to be in safe environments where they can fully function and fully have a breakout room where if they're swimming, they can swim. Not only that, these children, they can't speak for themselves. Most of them can't speak for themselves. And we know most of them need the same thing over and over. And public schools does not provide proper lunches for this community. A lot of these children are sitting in school hungry all day because they cannot communicate to anyone that they're hungry or that they eat nuggets every day or French fries every day, or we're giving them pizza or things that they don't eat. And when you have a children who's sitting in a classroom with an empty stomach, they can't focus. They can't complete the classwork. So I believe Mr. Leon, President, Superintendent Leon, I don't know you, but I feel like if you are going to fill that seat, keep the autistic community protected because they cannot speak up for themselves. Make sure that they are getting the education they need, whether they're able to keep up or not, and placing them into a fully functioning classroom is going to create more and more confusion. Having their parents come up here early for them makes them think they're going home. So we need volunteers and teachers' assistants and regular teachers to be properly trained with ongoing training to properly care for our children who are on the spectrum. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Ma'am?
Sorry, Ms. Wilson, we would like to translate. We are requesting if we are able to translate for some of the Spanish-speaking parents so it could be clear transparency. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Buenas tardes con todos, mi nombre es María Espinosa. Bueno, yo estoy aquí porque realmente tengo una preocupación por los niños, especialmente del área de Idaho, ya que el nivel de educación en esta zona, para mi opinión, es demasiado bajo. Yo sé que estamos entre los niveles más altos según las encuestas, pero en mi opinión particular, yo he tenido que enviar a mi hijo a mi país a regular ciertas materias. Ya que aquí la educación, se la puede decir, no es tomada tan en serio. Siempre en las escuelas a veces no hay profesores, no les enseñan como les deberían enseñar, les toman los test y los niños ni siquiera aprenden. También quisiera expresar sobre el tema de las actividades extracurriculares de los niños que tienen aquí en esta zona, pues yo he visto que no hay ninguna. Entonces me gustaría saber si ustedes pueden tomar un poco más de preocupación sobre esos temas, el nivel de educación que están teniendo los niños actualmente aquí. Creo que por eso también es que existe existe mucho, se puede decir, delincuencia juvenil un poco, porque se ve que en las escuelas existe demasiado bullying, se promueven otro tipo de cosas, por experiencia propia, porque lo viví a través de mi hijo. Entonces me gustaría saber si ustedes pueden tomar un poco más atención en el nivel de educación que dan acá. Gracias.
Good evening. What our parents worry about, she is explaining that yes, you have mentioned that Newark Public Schools, the rate of education is higher than other districts. However, she feels that here in the Ironbound, the school that her children are currently attending, there's a lack of extracurricular activities. The level of education is not what is being said by the Board of Education, because she actually had to send her child to her country so that he could learn extra information that he was not being given here. There are some of the tests that they're not able to pass, so she's requesting for help from the Board of Education and an explanation on why something different is being said, but her as a parent and with her children, what she's experiencing is not happening. And also, she's also talking about the issues that are happening within the schools, with the bullying and with the increasing many children doing criminal acts, because she has experienced that with her own child. That is her complaint, her questions, and what the board can do about it.
Thank you for your comments. I want to remind the community, this is a hearing on the superintendent's extension of contract. Keep your comments to that topic. Ma'am?
I'm a grandmother of 13 children, and most of them go to Newark public schools. My thing is this: I want to ride off of what some of the parents had already spoken about. Parent that was standing over here when she said that the parents need to see more of the superintendent. Come out your office, walk the hallways, go to classes, see what's going on. Go in the bathroom, do all of that. And the parent that was here, she said that she's the one that has to oversee her child. When they come home, she's the one that has to make sure that they're learning what they're learning in school. Because some of the kids are not grasping to what's going on in school. So with that being said, the seat that you're sitting in, like Mr. Jones said here, that's a big seat. And you feel that seat? If not, then you need to sit aside. That's what I say.
Thank you. Comments to the contract.
Madam VA, can I please translate that in Spanish? Because the translator they brought with them, I don't think has stated that to them because they're reading off their notes. So, esta noche, esta es una reunión comunitaria sobre la extensión del contrato del superintendente de las escuelas, no una reunión sobre la calidad de la vida aquí en la ciudad. Tienen que hablar sobre la extensión del contrato. Para que lo entiendan, porque no sé si la señora que está con ustedes le explicó bien. ¿Ok? Gracias.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia.
Mi nombre es Cintia Sánchez. Yo solo entendí lo que usted está diciendo. Tengo a mi hija que también va a hablar, expresar lo que ella sintió y siente en el escuela. En este caso, para que el señor haga el contrato nuevo, tiene que comenzar a poner más asuntos a los niños. En mi caso, yo tengo a mi hija ha sufrido mucha discriminación, a ella le golpearon, le sacaron los dientes. Ella llegaba a la casa con moretones. Se supone que si hay profesores, hay gente en las escuelas para que pongan y vean a los niños y llamen la atención o solucionen el problema, tendrían que empezar desde ahí. Entonces, a mi hija realmente sufrió todo este tiempo. Mi hija perdió un año porque yo la traje de Nueva York, la trasladé acá y a mi hija le dieron que ella no podía estudiar. Tengo otro hijo, gracias a Dios, no he tenido problemas, pero en mi último hijo también lo mismo. En mi último hijo me negaron, mi hijo está con
lo que es intervención temprana, me dijeron a mí que no, que si yo quería seguir con la esa del curso, que yo le podría pagar a mi hijo para ir a un daycare. Se supone que yo no tengo muchos recursos. ¿Yo dónde voy a sacar para pagar para que mi hijo vaya a un daycare? ¿Yo cómo voy a estar segura que mis hijos van a estar bien en esas escuelas? Se supone que dicen,
con permiso, señora, no quiero interrumpirla, pero tienes que hablar sobre el contrato del superintendente.
Yo le estoy hablando para que...
No, señora, estás hablando sobre la calidad de la escuela, la supervisión en las escuelas, de esa condición. Estamos aquí para escucharla sobre esos temas, pero ahora tiene que ser sobre el contrato.
We pause our time, please. Y'all are running our time, go back and forth.
¿Dónde está el nuevo contrato que van a hacer? Los estudiantes no se lo toman en cuenta. O sea, ¿dónde está todo eso? Se supone que si es un nuevo contrato que van a hacer, los estudiantes ¿dónde quedan? Si para que él sea un superintendente o lo que sea, él tiene que tomar en cuenta la actitud y la forma de vida, de la calidad de las escuelas a los estudiantes. Porque los estudiantes, para que haya escuelas, tiene que haber estudiantes. No va a haber unas escuelas vacías. ¿Y dónde van a estar los estudiantes? Eso es lo que yo digo. Usted dice sí, que un nuevo contrato, ok, el nuevo contrato está bien dicho. ¿Y los estudiantes dónde quedan? ¿Dónde quedan los estudiantes? Pónganse a pensar eso. Usted dice nuevo contrato, y los estudiantes ¿qué? Las profesoras discriminan a los niños. ¿Por qué? Porque no tienen dinero, no tienen recursos, los tratan mal. ¿Dónde está? Se supone que dice que está todo bien, todo bien. ¿Dónde está todo eso? Yo tengo mi hija ha vivido, mi hija quiere hablar, ¿por qué no le dan la autorización, el permiso para que ella hable? Yo le doy la autorización a ella. ¿Y ustedes qué? ¿Le van a escuchar a ella lo que ella dice como estudiante que es? Se supone que es así, ¿no? Un nuevo contrato, ¿y dónde está todo eso?
Thank you for your comments. I will remind the audience once again, comments are to be made only on the superintendent's contract. This is not a regular board meeting. Please provide your name and address before you speak.
Is there a need for translation? Para los padres que están aquí, todos los meses tenemos una reunión de la Junta de Educación. La próxima reunión de la Junta de Educación va a ser el día 30 de octubre en la escuela Abington Avenue, que queda en la Norte 6 y la avenida Abington. Y estamos aquí, soy de Newark, soy una madre de 3 hijos, fueron a las escuelas públicas aquí en Newark, yo siento su sentimiento, pero por favor hablen sobre el contrato, ¿ok? El próximo.
Just a minute.
So this call, we were just translating for them that they have to speak and state support on the superintendent's contract, not the quality of life issues affecting the city or the schools. They have to speak regarding the contract. Our next school board meeting will be October 30th at Abington Avenue School, and they can come and speak at our monthly school board meeting, which I hope to see them as well.
Madam SBA, can you allow the translator to translate? You have 30 seconds of your time going back and forth on the clock. I'd like to hear what you said.
They understand what they're here for. They are against about reviewing the contract because of the issues that they mentioned. They are understanding that this was not a meeting, but they feel that it is very important, especially reviewing a contract. They don't feel secure. They don't feel that their children are secure. So that's what they were explaining. I understand there's going to be other meetings, but the base on this of reviewing the contract, like they want to make sure that their children are not going to be discriminated. The little girl, she was hit. They removed her teeth because someone punched her in the face. The teachers, nobody was doing anything about it. That's what the little girl wanted to speak about the discrimination that she had. Because again, it might not be like part of the contract, that's what they're saying. I'm just translating for them. But they feel that they need to be heard in order to review the contract.
I am impressing upon you to communicate to them that this is about the contract. The next occurrence of that, I will have to interrupt and ask you to stop. Okay?
Can we hear the translation of what the last speaker said, please?
2. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dante Howell, 40 Broad Street, Newark. I just want to say, to open up, as I always acknowledge, I acknowledge leaders and leadership, regardless if I agree or disagree, because it's not easy sitting in that seat. The accountability, the credit, the blame that comes with it. With that said, superintendent and all of the board, the community, salute you respectfully. Education comes from the Latin word educare, which means to mold or to train. And if you look at the current state of it's being board of education and the way the world is going, maybe we just also need to reevaluate our education system as a whole. How does that mold and prepare them for the world? So if the superintendent says he has a vision that should go to 2030, how does that vision prepare and innovate and create opportunities to mold and to excel in the world as it's rapidly changing right as we speak? I sit in this seat, I come from the finance hedge fund background, left that career to go into advocacy and restorative justice, and I sit in the capacity of a director, executive director. I come into the schools with certain contracts, and I have to sit with these young from first grade all the way through college. And the things I hear that they go through in the public, especially the public education system, as an overseer, superintendent means one who oversees, one who's like a shepherd. And I know you can't do it all, you're just a man. But my concern is you might have done some good things, but to continue to 2030, I think it's premature to make a decision so quickly without certain things being proven. Not that you haven't done some things, but to extend it that long and break history or make history, I don't know if it's substantial enough to advocate for that, thinking of the whole community, the family. I just wouldn't, with a clear conscience, think that's just. So it's not personal, but at the end of the day, it's family business. It can't be personal. You got to take care of the family. That includes the children being the future, the parents being the present, and the elders being the past. And if we don't come together, we're going to have a serious breakdown. And as you can see, it's playing out when I'm in these chairs with these youth. So I'm not convinced, not taking anything away, but not also not giving what is not there either. And numbers lie, men lie, women lie, but the fruit doesn't lie. So let's look at the children. Let's reevaluate and take some time and pause. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Poe. Thank you for your comments. Ma'am?
Buenas noches con todos, mi nombre es Sonia Cambur y vengo de Newark. Tengo dos niños, uno en high school y otra en middle school, y vengo en representación de muchas de las madres. Yo creo que antes de hablar del nuevo contrato o de renovar el contrato del superintendente, tenemos que mirar y reafirmar la política de la educación aquí en Newark. Hay muchas cosas aquí en Newark que necesitan ser revisadas. Antes de abrir nuevas escuelas, ¿por qué no mejor mejoramos la calidad educativa de todo el sector de Newark? Esa es mi política, mi problema. Mis hijos estudian aquí y antes de abrir nuevas escuelas, porque hay falta de maestros y falta y vacíos en la educación de nuestros hijos. ¿Ya? Porque faltan maestros y los maestros lo que hacen es ponerles la nota a la evaluación que ellos creen conveniente. Y esos niños, mi hija va a la universidad y ella no se siente preparada para ir a una universidad sintiendo esos vacíos que no han sido llenados. Entonces, mi pregunta es, por favor, sea quien sea que vaya a dirigir este sector, lo que necesitamos es que mejore la calidad de educación aquí en Newark, porque hay muchas faltas. No podemos acceder a actividades extraescolares, no tienen los niños actividades a música u otro, y si los hay, están fuera de este estado, fuera del sector de Newark. Tenemos que estar pagando para poder acceder a estos servicios. Madres que trabajamos, que no tenemos eso, y nuestros niños se van a los parques a pasar el tiempo, a convivir con otros niños, y se crea la delincuencia. Pedimos que por favor se mejoren estas situaciones antes de realizar un nuevo contrato, que haya más actividades extraescolares. Por otra situación, de drogas. Todas estas situaciones deberían ser más controladas antes de pensar en renovar el nuevo contrato o abrir nuevas escuelas, mejorar las que ya tenemos y el sistema educativo de lo que ya tenemos. Eso es todo lo que tenía que decir.
Before you translate, were those comments?
No es que esté a favor o en contra, estoy pidiendo que antes de ser reelegido tiene que mejorar esto antes de dar un voto a favor. O sea, principalmente mi opinión es que primero tienen que arreglar esto para volverlo a reelegir.
Before you translate, were those comments about the contract? All right, we want to hear the parts about the contract. Thank you.
Yeah, that's all I was going to say. So, our parent, she is not pro-renewing or against it. Right now, at this moment, she's neutral because she mentioned whoever is going to be in the position, might be Mr. Leon, or whoever is going to occupy the next position. She just wants to make sure that whoever comes next, before opening new schools in Newark, they need to take care of what is happening right now. So at the moment, she's not against, but that's her main issue right now. Just improving the schools.
Thank you for those comments. Sir?
Pastor Thomas Reddick from Renaissance Church of Newark. I'd first like to say this contract that we're talking about extending.
Ms. Cole, can I ask you to... Ms. Cole, I am asking you, please.
Rob, stop the time, Rob. Start it over.
Again, my name is Thomas Reddick, Pastor Thomas Reddick. I'm from Renaissance Church of Newark. I am a stakeholder in this city. I was a PTA president for around 15 years at EL Flag School. I was a manager. I have 5 children that has graduated from public school, went on to college, and hold degrees right now. And when we talk about extending the contract, I was thinking about if this was a football team, or if this was the presidency, if Trump had said he wants to extend his term 4 more years without finishing the 3 years that he has, what would the public say? What would the public say? The public would say no. And so, being that he wants to extend his contract for 3 more years, and he hasn't even finished out his term, that's ridiculous. It doesn't make no sense. And we have too many issues, and somebody brought up, we're always going to have issues, but some of the issues that have been plaguing our school system already has not been addressed. Autism. I'm raising right now 2 children in my home that have autism. And I have to go to the school every day and fight for these children because you know why? The school system is not fighting for them. They're not protecting these children. They're getting bullied. They're getting beat up. They're not getting fed. All the things that this sister said. And those are some of the issues that our children are dealing with that no one is addressing. No one is addressing. To get on the school bus is a problem. Kids getting beat up on the school bus. And these are 9-year-old kids, 8-year-old children. And we're talking about dealing with issues. We got a whole bunch of issues to deal with. And it seems like none of them are getting addressed. We got kids in high school that are being called all kind of derogatory names. And nobody's addressing. We got reports that people waiting on it we haven't seen yet. When is all of those issues going to come to the front? When are we going to address those issues? Instead of addressing somebody about a contract 3 years down the road. It doesn't And I think this community is due more than what we need.
Thank you for your comments. Ma'am? We cannot hear you. Escuche.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Estela Manzanares. Dios les bendiga a todos y espero que todos los que estemos hablando aquí tengan sabiduría y que puedan reelegir a alguien, sea quien sea, pero con sabiduría. Mi opinión en persona es que yo tengo 3 niñas, soy madre soltera, por alguna que otra circunstancia, a veces padres ausentes, no porque queremos, no quiero ser como una carga para decir. Hablo con los padres solteros y madres solteras que a veces no tenemos voz para hablar. En mi caso, yo siempre he pedido ayuda que me den con el programa que hay, que es de 7 de la mañana a 5:30 de la tarde. Vengo pidiéndolo durante, ya mi hija va para el 6º grado, nunca me lo han dado, no soy aplicable. También he pedido para el RAI de mis hijas, que lo he venido pagando siempre. Yo pago RAI privado. Y esa es mi opinión, que para poder reelegir eso, pues tratar de dar una revisión, ¿no? Y ayudar con eso tan siquiera a las madres o padres que necesitamos esa ayuda. Yo incluso mis hijas necesitan caso escuela, pero nunca lo han obtenido por más que lo pidan. También el RAI siempre me lo han negado. Entonces, esa es mi opinión. Que pasen buenas tardes.
Thank you.
Okay, so the mom that you spoke about right now, she mentioned again, she is not against or she's pro. She's asking you guys to, whoever's gonna come next, if it's the same Mr. Leon or somebody else, to please attend the issues that are happening. She's talking about the after-school programs. It's being mentioned that there are other activities that the Board of Education has done for the public schools, but she feels that in her school she's not receiving that at the moment right now. That's why she's asking that whoever comes next to please take care of these issues. That's all she's saying. So not against, but just neutral.
Thank you. Sir?
Good evening, board members and superintendent. My name is Alexander Schutz. I'm a Behringer educator, a Newark resident, and chair of the Newark Education Workers Caucus. I am not endorsing or opposing inherently this contract, but sitting in the superintendent's convocation this past August, I was reflecting on what I hope the priorities will be if this contract is extended in this way. It was quite positive for much of that convocation. I love seeing the students perform, love seeing that we are getting many wins, we are excelling in academics and athletics at many schools. However, I was also left with a lot of frustration. We were there while many of us teachers were meant to be setting up our classrooms at the beginning of the school year. So we were choosing between celebrating our successes or doing the bread and butter work to actually do the work in the classroom. This feels emblematic of some of the priorities that I've seen in my time so far at our public schools. It's remarkable, it's heartening, it's wonderful to see so many Newark students ascending to the highest levels of career and academic success. I have no ill will towards the students at high-achieving schools or my colleagues there, and I'm very impressed by all of them. But I felt a sense of confusion in that speech when the superintendent announced his intention to direct in his office extra funds to the schools that were succeeding on standardized testing. This, to me, feels like directly counter to common sense. If one intends to build a district where every student, regardless of ability or circumstances, can thrive and excel. As was reported last year, many of our comprehensive high schools, for example, already receive significantly less in funding per student than their high-performing, selective magnet counterparts. When we, as a matter of policy, concentrate funds and programs in the already successful schools, the message received on the ground is that the district wants a two-tier system, which is selected class of elite students are put to the front and celebrated correctly, while a great many more are left to struggle. Should the superintendent's contract be extended this evening, I would urge the members of the board to pushing to reprioritize the students, recenter the students who need the most and face the steepest challenges, our English language learners, our students with IEPs, rather than siloing the best and brightest in more and more specialized schools. I empathize with the need to put on our strongest face. The politicians of the state and country are happy to pounce on any admission of weakness in our system. But we need courage and vision to make a school system built to last. We need to raise the tide in Newark. That is not done with micro externships or mini-series or medals, as fun as all those are, but with a less flashy fundamentals, smaller class sizes, wraparound services, robust community outreach, robust after-school programs, and safe, clean, well-maintained school infrastructure. That's what we deserve.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Isabel Mayancela. Yo, en lo personal, no estoy de acuerdo con la recontratación o extensión del contrato, porque en lo personal yo tengo muchos inconvenientes en la escuela, hablando de mi hija. Primero, porque en la escuela no hay seguridad. En las mañanas, supuestamente donde deben estar los niños esperando a los maestros, están parqueados los carros de los maestros. Primero trataría de solucionar los problemas que tenemos en el momento, a poner actividades extraescolares para que puedan ver quién está apto para seguir avanzando en el aprendizaje de nuestros niños, porque si los niños no aprenden, no vamos a avanzar con todo eso. Y también me gustaría de por qué las personas que hablan inglés y pueden expresar sus sentires y nosotros como hispanos, latinos, no podemos expresarnos. Nos limitan ciertos comentarios. Y también sobre el bullying, me gustaría tratar de solucionar eso. Por eso no estoy de acuerdo. Gracias.
Our parent is against renewing the contract because she doesn't feel that her children are secure at the school right now. She did mention that why, because the Spanish-speaking parents are trying to, say what the concern that they were explaining before. They see that other people that speak English, they are allowed to express some of their feelings of what is going on, but why they are not. That's just something what she said. I'm just translating for her. She's talking about the security. She will feel that the school needs to be more secure because right now the children of Wilson Ave, they're being left outside at the beginning of the school. They're supposed to be inside the playground waiting to go in. But at the moment they have to wait outside of the school. There's no teachers, there's nothing. So that's a big concern for her, especially for her little daughter that is 9. Also, she did speak about the bullying, the other stuff that I mentioned. That's why she's against renewing the contract.
Thank you for the comments. Ma'am?
Hello, my name is Brittany Roberson. I am right now a parent of a junior at American History High School. I am the PTO president of American History High School. I am a product of Newark, born and raised. I went to Newark Public Schools. I also worked for the Newark Board of Education for about 10 years as a teacher's aide. I am here in support of Mr. Leon continuing the 2 or 3 years he's asked for, and I'm going to state my reasons why. Once again, I am the PTO president of American History High School, and I am at the majority of the superintendent meetings that he has at Howard Wilson Middle School. And I'm going to just speak on one of the meetings that I attended on May 13th of last year, which stated 655 high school students in Newark had, the seniors last year, had a GPA of 3.5 or better and was able to attend an academic awards night on June 4th, 2025. Also, they brought back the Newark Olympics, which was great. And he also talked about how $169 million were going toward the students for college scholarships. And to be honest, some of the parents here, I did attend the meeting late, but they are not at the superintendent meetings, because if they were, when what was brought up at one of the meetings were the kids being left outside of school, not my particular school, but some of the elementary schools, and he has reached out to those schools where the parent complained, so where the kids are allowed to come in early and leave late. So what I'm going to say is I suggest that some of the more parents come out to his action meetings, because we discuss everything in the meetings. Whatever issues we have within the school, we have a president, a vice president, a treasurer, and just like a regular counselor if they had it set up in their schools. And the president or the vice president, one of the four, we're able to come to the meetings at different times and discuss as a whole the plans for the future. Like the plans that we discussed last year, he has an itinerary with books with what he is willing to do from grades K through 12, individual workouts that they're supposed to do if they want to add more schooling, or whether it's sports or extracurricular activity, math, English, what they're going to do to help the students. And I am for that 100%. Like I said, I'm in mostly every meeting we have. So that's all I have to say. I'm for Mr. Leon for his extra few years.
Thank you. Sir?
Well, my name is Edna Christine. Pull the mic up to you. There you go. My name is Edna Christine Musa Ahmed, 1004 Broad Street. He was actually my principal for 7th, 8th grade as well as high school. I would not be where I am in literal terms without him. He did my letter recommendation for undergrad and grad school, so that's proof. No offense, what I'm not hearing is parental involvement, like no offense to anyone. So some quick things, everyone would benefit from watching the news more regularly, both local and federal. A lot of what's going on here is, no offense, people cherry picking evidence and the like. If you were to follow the news more often, a lot of this was cuts in funding, prioritizing the wrong things. None of this has anything to do with local government or the teachers' boards and things like that, cash sizes, all of those things. If you were to understand our foreign policy, that's a big reason why we have so many people from Latin America and the like coming here as a result of our government not spending our money for things that we benefit from. So they come here, they're trying to do their best, and now we have ICE privatizing prisons, and now it's profitable. Not surprising based on what it is that you have access to, news that you have access to. I would not be surprised like Fox News, as well as the desire to assimilate. So that, in part, in my humble opinion, speaks to the discrimination. An easy recipe of solution is to educate people on how they came to this country. So Harvest of Empire, south of the borders, confessions of an economic hitman, by people understanding that you won't be fighting each other for the logical consequence of empire. Parental involvement, there's a strong correlation between parental involvement and child success. What I'm not hearing is, are you listening to your children? Are you reading to your children? Are you doing homework with your children? Are you signing off on their homework? All of those things that used to exist when I was growing up, I'm not hearing it. I hear a lot of the president, the school should do X, Y, Z, but if you, the parent, aren't doing things, your child should be able to read and the like before they come to school. And like alphabet, someone say, even though some people it is, because a lot of learning goes on outside of the school, not in the school. It's only 6.5 hours. What's happening the rest of those hours? What's going on in the summer and the like? So it's absurd for you to fault one person for a lot of what's going on. In the most literal terms, if he were to be replaced, the same issue would go on because it's bigger than him. So thank you for all that you have done. I would not be where I am in life without you. And yeah, with proof he has been consistent, it's just are the parents consistent? Thank you for showing up.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I just want to say, Roger De Leon, we know him. We have to be careful what we wish for. Because you don't know down the road what's coming. The grass will be green, but it will not be green when it starts. We know him, leave him there, let him finish, give him 2 years more. Everybody knows who is him. Everybody can talk to him, go to his office, email him, text him, whatever you want. But every time you come for something with Roger De Leon, everybody's here to attack him. But when you need to come to the meeting, board meeting, the children are empty. But now you are asking for everybody here. I have a problem with it.
Thank you for your comments. Ma'am? Excuse me. Name, please. I'm sorry.
I'm Jasmine Owens. I am appalled that this elected board would want to give up their power to extend a contract to 2030, when most, if not all, won't even be on board. The Creed report detailing how black kids is being called racism names and nothing is done about it, and this report is still not released should the sun revolve. Why not wait to see what results the school will deliver regarding his existing contract? I haven't seen any major academic improvements whatsoever. Release the Creed report and let's make sure our kids are protected. I urge the board to vote no to this new contract.
Thank you for your comments. Ma'am? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Junta. So I don't think that this should be renewed. I don't think it should be extended, this contract. I'm sorry. The contract should not be extended because, like the other parent said, where are the Creed reports released? I have a child in school, he's getting bullied. Why is he getting bullied? And you're saying that this isn't like his, it's not supposed to be, we're talking about his contract, but this is a part of his contract. He's supposed to be protecting our students, making sure that they're okay. My son is fine. Why is he getting bullied in a school where teachers are supposed to protect him? So I don't think that it should be extended. I'm sorry.
Thank you for your comments. Ma'am? I'm sorry, sir.
Hi, good evening. I'm Andre Berger with Familia and there seems to be a little bit of a disconnect here, I think. When the board is talking about extending the contract for the rest of the decade, a number of parents have come up here and expressed concerns about racist bullying, about the systematic failure for the education for ESL students. They've been told that their concerns are not relevant to this contract extension. And my suggestion for the board would be, take 6 months, take a year. It doesn't seem like there's any need to extend the contract immediately, and address the issues that these parents have brought up. And this is not the first time that they've brought those concerns up. And in 6 months, in a year, based on what has actually happened, what progress has been made to address the racist bullying in Newark schools, to address the lack of sufficient education for students who speak English as a second language, then decide whether to extend the contract or not. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Sir?
Just to clarify something.
Sir Moore, is sir, excuse me. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Ronald Jamal Bordini. I've lived in Newark my entire life, and I'm a proud graduate of Newark Public Schools. Throughout my educational experience, I've often wondered who is responsible for ensuring our scholars' success. The truth remains is that we all do. Parents and guardians, school-based personnel, and even community members share the role in making sure that our future is secure. Before the board tonight is an important decision. Our now generation is in your hands. The scholars who complain about not being heard or being given an opportunity, equal opportunity to succeed, they matter. My question becomes for the board, before making this rash decision, make sure we fully understand how will we respond to the concerns of discrimination, lacks of transparency, and decisions made without public input. We were all taught in school that there are 3 branches of government, 3 separate but equal branches to keep each other in mind. So how will this body ensure that our district remains diverse and inclusive from the individual schools to central office? We, the people, would like to see more numbers and less percentages. And my final question is, we know you can hear us, but are you truly listening? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Sir.
Just a question to you before we start on time. Performance and results are part of what students also, right? Performance and end results is still part of speed because all this comes together with the contract should be extended, not, am I right?
That's correct.
Question. Scenario, there's 45,000 students in the city of Newark, right? We'll round out and say 15,000 are seniors. If you send 20% to college, what about the other 80%? We're not educating our kids for life. Not everybody wants to go to college. I didn't want to go to college because I did not learn. They didn't teach me black history and all that other stuff back in the day when I went to school. My thing is, where are trade schools? I came out of high school, I could do metalwork, I could do plumbing, my father was a carpenter. I had a trade. These kids coming out right now, if you educate and say go to college, and you take 45,000 students, and you only send 10 to school, college, you fail. And I don't really blame Roger because the Board of Education itself appoints the CEO. The board's a corporation, am I right? The board is responsible for the Board of Education Corporation, which means the board itself runs. The superintendent or the CEO will be the person to carry out the orders. So when we just talk about Roger, I as a person hold the board just as accountable. Because you're not doing your job. The last contract should have never been extended. You earned your job. We almost got something like this going down in Washington, where that clown wants to be in office forever. I don't ask nobody for nothing, because that's just my pride. I work for it. And if it's not deserving of me, and I feel I deserve it, I'll move on down the line. But I just retired from inside the school. And there's something I'm not going to talk about, and I've been told that I will talk to you about. I don't like airing dirty laundry. That's not what I'm about. That's not my character. But I believe that I can communicate and get a point across that we resolve this. Because I see kids going down the mountain and somebody's pushing rocks behind them. You can't survive an avalanche. And today, as black and brown people, you need to know. We teach you a test. Not everybody can pass the test. I know some people can't pass the test, but they can teach you. So when we teach that test, are we teaching the basics? If I can do the mechanical part of the test, but I don't have the vocabulary to explain what it is, I failed in the state. So who has failed the student? The system, the school. We need.
Your time is now up. Thank you for your comments. Ms. Scott?
Yeah, it's time to stop. So glad the meeting went the way it went. Well, get up here and address some people concerned about this contract. And I'm glad I didn't have to do that. We should be concerned about this contract, but we should be concerned about others who are over our kids in other school system contract as well. Because Roger, compared to some of the other contracts, Roger, you make nothing. Because Ryan Hill, over that kid, he makes $360,000. You're 20 with another 40 on top of that for benefits. Shamar Jeffries, who is the CEO of the Kid Foundation, makes $760,000. Okay? So when we were talking about Roger's contract in terms of the dollars, let's be concerned about everybody else. The CEO of North Star, Julie Jackson, she made over $500,000. Also, makes over $2 billion.
before they go to school, they don't even go in, let them went out, they're bathing, hold the cat. In CA, 12th Avenue in Wilton, outside in the morning. Land, smoking weed in the morning. So let's be clear. So we're concerned about Rodney, his contract, and the behavior of our kids. Let's be concerned about all of the behavior of our kids and those that are over our kids. So again, I'm glad this meeting went the way it went. So I thought it was going to go another way. I thought we were going to have other people coming up here that have no business coming up here. They should not have no concern about what's going on with Roger Leo's contract. Roger Leo is the superintendent of Newark Traditional Public School, where millions of dollars, you said, goes out of that budget to other people. So other people do not come here, I'm glad they come doing this portion, and don't come to the other part. Talk about Roger Leo's contract. We will address Roger. We will address his contract. We will address the behavior of our kids. We will address the academics of our kids. We will do that with Roger Leo.
This is our final speaker for public participation. Public participation is now closed. Ma'am? Thank you for your comments. Public participation is closed. May I have a motion to enter into executive session? May I have a motion for executive session?
Motion, Garcia. Second.
Mrs. James Frierson for second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Recuse. Sorry. Recuse.
Recuse. Let me hear it. We will have Ms. Anderson. Recuse. Okay. Mr. Norton.
Aye.
Ms. Garcia.
Aye.
Ms. James Frierson.
Aye.
Mr. Mason Ahmed.
Aye.
Ms. Reed. Ms. Santana.
Aye.
Mr. Council.
Recuse.
Motion carries.